Why should you have a Bitcoin allocation? What purpose does it serve you? In this video, I'm going to go over the multitude of reasons why one would want to own Bitcoin, because honestly, it is a one-size-fits-all solution for everybody. Whether you're a saver, an investor, you're saving for retirement, you want insurance policy, whatever the reason is, Bitcoin is most likely for you. And who knows, maybe after this video, you'll find yourself going down the proverbial Bitcoin rabbit hole. Who knows? The only way to find out is to watch the video all the way through from beginning to end. And before you know it, you'll be selling your house to buy Bitcoin, because once you understand Bitcoin and what it's all about and why it's needed, you are going to get to a point where you never have enough. You can never have enough Bitcoin, okay? Without further ado, let's just get right into it. All right, first we have using Bitcoin as an investment. Traditionally, we have real estate, we have equities, we have bonds, we have commodities, we have precious metals, we have all those things that we're all accustomed to, right? TradFi. Well, in 2009, Bitcoin entered the chat and became the dominant and most prominent investment vehicle that you could possibly put your money into. If you put your money into any other asset aside from Bitcoin over the last 15 years, you lost money with respect to Bitcoin. The math doesn't lie. And there will be skeptics out there who deliberately choose a time frame, the cyclical bear market, 2022, 2018, 2014, they choose a period in time where Bitcoin's drawdown was near what, 80, 90%, 70%, and they say, well, look at this, Bitcoin's down 80%, ha ha ha. Yeah, but if you zoom out and you look over the last 4 years, the last 5 years, 6, 7, the last 10 years, you will see that Bitcoin has far outperformed any asset in modern day history. It's not even up for debate, it's not even close. In fact, the average return of Bitcoin, and I am being incredibly conservative, is 100% a year. Yep, I said that right, 100% a year. So if you put $100,000 in Bitcoin over the last 10 years, you made 100% minimum a year for the last 10 years. It's freaking insane. The math doesn't lie. Then you have real estate, average of 10% returns a year. The S&P 500. Average of 10 to 12% a year. It's just not, even if Bitcoin gets cut in half and the average returns are 50%, that is still 50% a year. That is almost 40% more than any other traditional investment vehicle. It's mind-blowing. Next, we have savings. Should I hold dollars or should I hold Bitcoin? Yeah, you're gonna wanna hold Bitcoin. Unless you wanna hold a currency that can be printed into oblivion, the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, the euro, pretty much any asset around the world can be printed into oblivion. You're gonna wanna hold Bitcoin instead. Once the dollar stopped being backed by gold in 1971, thanks to President Nixon, it no longer made any sense to hold dollars. I mean, stuffing money under a mattress, stuffing money under your pillow, stuffing money in a safe, it makes no sense. Because over the last 5 years, or I guess 6 years now, wow, we're in 2025, you lost 25% of your purchasing power. What does that mean? It means if you started saving in 2019, if you put $100,000 into the bank, into your checking account, and you just let it sit there, nothing wrong with that, right? 6 years later, you lost 25% of your purchasing power. 25%. It means that $100,000 is now really $75,000. Why? Because you lost $25,000 worth of purchasing power. That is from the constant money printing. So thanks to a little thing we called COVID. Governments around the world printed money like it was going out of style. And what does that do? That causes the debasement of your favorite currency. And when you're constantly debasing currency, aka the reserve currency, aka the US dollar, no good can come from that. And that is where Bitcoin comes into play. So if you want to preserve your purchasing power, you're gonna wanna start saving in Bitcoin if you are a saver. So I think at some point in the future, there is gonna come a time where saving is the fiscally responsible thing to do. But at this point now, with the US dollar being the reserve currency, saving doesn't really make any sense. In fact, the irresponsible thing to do these days is to save your money. I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but saving money makes no sense.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You want to invest your money. But again, Bitcoin changes that. So if you want to save your money, save it in Bitcoin. Next, we have using Bitcoin as a bank. Let me explain what I mean by that. Not everyone around the world is fortunate enough to have a bank account. In fact, 1.7 billion, yes, I said billion, 1.7 billion people around the world do not have the luxury of having their own bank account, no matter where you are in the world. And last time I checked, we have a world population of 8 billion people. So if my math is correct, that is exactly 25% of the world population does not have access to a bank. That is absolutely insane. That means 1 in 4 people around the world don't have a bank account. I shouldn't even be laughing. It's not even funny. I mean, it's sad and it's crazy. And I think that's going to change within the next 10 years. With Bitcoin, those who are unbanked will have the opportunity to be banked. And even those who do have a bank account, I mean, we all know trying to send money across the world, trying to send money overseas, trying to send money to your friend. You know, the transaction will take 3 to 5 business days. We need to go through this intermediary on a weekend. Oh, weekend, not possible. It's not possible. You need to do it on Monday. 8 business days. It is absolutely ridiculous. And that doesn't even take into account the fees that you gotta pay. How about we in 2025, we have AI literally taking over jobs, but we're on this antiquated system, this old financial system that just doesn't make any sense and it's still living in the 1900s. It makes no sense. So even if you have a bank account, Bitcoin will make sending transactions, no matter where you are in the world, faster, cheaper, and there's nobody in the middle. There's no middleman. It's just you sending your money to another person. No one's stopping the transaction. It's all public. It's on a ledger, and that's it. Next, we have retirement. The universal goal is to work hard in your prime years, so 25 to 55 or 60, and then retire by the time you're 60 to 65, right? Seems fair enough, right? Wrong. We all think we have an idea on what we need to be able to retire, whether it be $1 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, whatever the number is, doesn't even matter. It's neither here nor there. The point is, as of today, we don't really know what we need to retire. Like if you're 25 years old today, you have no idea what you're gonna need to retire by the time you're 65 years old, because that is 40 years. And like I said, if the debasement of the currency over the last 6 years was 25%, what is that number gonna look like in the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? Who knows? So let's just say, you're on the trajectory, you're gonna have $2 million saved by the time you are 65 years old. It sounds great, right? Like $2 million it's a modest amount of money. It's a pretty decent amount of money. It's a lot of money. But who's to say that in 50 years, a carton of eggs isn't going to cost $1,000?
Huh?
Nobody knows. Like imagine you have this goal of, all right, I'm going to have $5 million by the time I retire. And then when you actually retire, that $5 million won't even last you 5 years. Bitcoin not only gives you the certainty that you will be able to retire when you want to retire. So if you're 25 years old today and you want to retire by the time you're 65, not only does it give you the guarantee that you will be able to retire with the amount of money that you need, whatever that might be, whatever that number looks like, you probably will be able to retire a lot sooner than you think. Why? Because if we look at a chart, the debasement of currency has been happening since the early 1900s, 1920, 1930, that's only going to accelerate. The debasement of currency is not linear. I'm sorry to say, but it is exponential. The point is, you need to be able to preserve your purchasing power over the years. You definitely don't want to get caught at a point where you're relying on Social Security, you're relying on government handouts, you're relying on whatever you might be, you're relying on your primary residence. You don't want to be put into a position where you have to be scraping in your older years. You should be doing all that stressing, all that worrying, all that solidifying when you're young. That way, when you retire, you're not thinking about money. All you're thinking about is, wow, I just worked for the last 40, 50 years. I'm going to enjoy my life now. Like imagine the stress of 1, you're old, and 2, you got to worry about money and where the next check's going to come from. That is absolutely absurd. The highest level of absurdity. Bitcoin fixes that. There are so many reasons why one should own Bitcoin. What's most important to you though? Savings, investments, retirement, an insurance policy? Let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to know. And for those who already own Bitcoin, let me know down below in the comment section, what is your primary use case for Bitcoin? And maybe it's one that I haven't mentioned in the video. And if it isn't, definitely let me know down below in the comment section, because I would actually love to know for myself. But what I will say is, before you dive into Bitcoin and you start throwing all your money into it and you think it can solve this and you think it can solve that, educate yourself first. So many people get into Bitcoin, they think they know what it can do for them, and then they just doesn't work out for them. Why? Because they don't understand Bitcoin in its entirety. Learn about Bitcoin. I'm a strong advocate for education, especially when it comes to your hard-earned money. Know where your money is going, know the technology that you're investing into, know what it's going to do for you, know what it can do for you. Educate yourself first. Don't know where to look? I would start with the Bitcoin Standard. All right, y'all, as always, I thank you for yet another opportunity to share my thoughts and my insights. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you didn't, well, maybe I get you in the next one. But if for those of you that learned something, show some love, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I look forward to the next one. BK out.